phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
The Caleb Williams era at Oklahoma has officially kicked off, and it was nearly perfect, as in his first collegiate start in his true freshman season versus TCU, he completed 18 of 23 passes, threw for 295 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. And on the ground, he had a rushing touchdown and 66 total yards on the ground for a 52-31 point victory over the Horned Frogs. Ever since he came in for Spencer Rattler in the OU versus Texas game, he has been one of the most hot topics in all of college football right now. This is B. Kelly back again with another banger video. In today's video, y'all, I am going to be talking about the new quarterback for Oklahoma, Caleb Williams, and his story. Now, before I move on with the video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, as we are on the road to 10K. Now, let's get into it. Caleb Williams has always been one of the most talented players while he has been playing football, and this is no joke at all, as he was starting to get noticed by Division I colleges in 8th grade. His first offer was actually from a team that is very close by, and that is none other than Maryland. Caleb Williams in high school was one of the top players in the nation. He was a high school All-American and made it to the Elite 11 Finals, where he was the Elite 11 Finals MVP. Caleb Williams in the 2021 recruiting class was seen as a top 10 player, a 5-star recruit, and at the time, the #1 quarterback in the nation, but he would end up being #2 in his class for quarterbacks by the very end, as Quinn Ewers would end up reclassifying just a couple weeks before the 2021 season, officially making him the #1 quarterback in that class. To talk about his recruitment just a little bit in high school, he had a total of 22 offers from schools such as OU, Alabama, Clemson, Florida, Georgia, LSU, Maryland, Ohio State, and Oregon, just to name a few. When it was getting closer and closer to make an announcement for where his next chapter would be in his football career, he released a top 3 with OU, Maryland, and LSU all in it. Now, when that was dropped, everybody thought he was an OU lock, as LSU would get a quarterback commit from that same class, and nobody really saw him actually going to Maryland, even though people did see Maryland as a dark horse team. It's just you really never think of Maryland to beat out Oklahoma for a top quarterback in a class. On July 4th, 2020, Caleb Williams would make an announcement where he would be attending college. That college would be the quarterback powerhouse in the University of Oklahoma. Although the commitment of Caleb Williams to OU was honestly no surprise at all when he made his commitment, because of all the predictions out there and inside sources that said he was pretty much an OU lock. But the thing is, OU got in Caleb Williams' recruitment pretty late, in my opinion. As for most of the 2019-2020 college football campaign, OU already had their quarterback for the future in 5-star quarterback Brock Vandagriff. But when he decommitted on January 1st, 2020, they had to get another guy. And since Brock was one of the only people they were actually going after, Lincoln put all of his money on Caleb Williams, and he was going to make sure he got Caleb Williams to Oklahoma. Something that you have to take in account for is getting into a quarterback's recruitment this late in the process, especially when that quarterback at the time is the #1 quarterback in the nation. It's going to be very hard to make a push and get him to go to your school in most circumstances. But in this circumstance for OU, it was different, as Lincoln Riley is always going to get his guys no matter what, especially at the quarterback position when it is almost needed most in the class. And not only that, Caleb Williams and his family were heavily interested in Oklahoma, even when Vandagriff was already committed to OU. And once he got that offer After Vandegrift decommitted from OU because he wanted to stay closer to home, the Sooners picked up a lot of steam, and they kept that momentum the entire way in Caleb's recruitment process. Fast forward a few months after his commitment, he has skipped his senior season of high school football to early enroll at OU so he can have his best shot of acclimating with the team and setting himself up for the future. Now you may be wondering, why did he quit his high school football season and just straight up skip it? His season was going to be in the spring because they could not play fall football in his area during that season, and he wanted to early enroll no matter what so he could get familiar with the system. And OU fans first saw their first taste of Caleb Williams in the spring game, in which he played very well, completing 10 of 11 passes for 99 yards, 1 touchdown, while rushing for 61 yards on 6 carries. The performance was spectacular, but that does not change the fact that it was a spring game, and this was not going to make him start over Spencer Rattler anytime soon, as Spencer Rattler was still the guy that Sooner Nation had their back for, as Spencer Rattler was seen as someone that could potentially win the Heisman in 2021 and be a top pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Going into the current 2021 season, it was no surprise when Caleb Williams was the second string quarterback, as Rattler had his hype and he was coming off a pretty good redshirt freshman campaign, and many people thought Caleb would end up just redshirting this season and only playing in 4 games. In the beginning, it did look like that mostly, as he really wasn't getting the most playing time and was primarily just used as someone that was just running the ball on short yardage situations. However, this would all change in one game. The game that changed everything for OU and Caleb Williams this season was none other than OU versus Texas. Caleb Williams' first play versus Texas was a 50-plus yard touchdown that really brought a spark, it seemed like, into OU's offense that was stagnant at the time. And after Spencer Rattler had his second turnover of that game, Caleb Williams was in for good, and he led an 18-point comeback versus Texas, and it was one of the best games a quarterback could have in just one half as a true freshman quarterback in a very hostile environment. And honestly, to no one's surprise, Caleb Williams was named the starter versus TCU after his legendary performance versus Texas in the Red River Showdown, and this would be his first start in his college career. And Caleb was nearly perfect in his first start, as he had over 300 plus all-purpose yards, 5 touchdowns in total, and he only had 5 incompletions. And not only that, this was the second time all season OU put 50 plus points in the season so far in back-to-back weeks with Caleb as the quarterback. And not only that, but something else you have to take in account for is that this was the first time all season OU has won the game against an FBS opponent by more than 1 possession. And another quick side fact that I think is useful to know is that Caleb Williams, already in 1 start and a half played versus Texas, has more passing touchdowns versus FBS opponents this season than Spencer Rattler. This is something that we've never seen before, as yes, Caleb Williams is playing lights out as a true freshman quarterback, but he took the job from someone that was seen as a potential number 1 pick and a Heisman frontrunner heading into the season. He has really brought the offense back to life, as everything seems to be perfect so far. And yes, I know there's still a lot of season left, and not every game that Caleb Williams is going to have is going to be like the ones he has had so far in his career. But I do have a question for y'all, and drop your thoughts down in the comments. What do you think Caleb Williams is going to do for the rest of the season, and what will OU's final record be? Will they win the 7th straight Big 12 title, or will they lose the Big 12 this season? Will they make it to the playoffs? Will they win their first ever playoff game under Caleb Williams? Tell me your thoughts down in the comments below. And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on them post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. B. Kelly, out.